Kept you waiting, huh? Well, back. Did a lot of work drama, and I was sick for a while, but mostly work drama. Yeah. I love how this concept in my life goes where you do everything you're asked and you get nothing, while people who, you know, don't get everything because reasons, which is kind of a prelude into this video, but this is something I'm personally passionate about and have been so for over a decade. But for those of you who have been requesting more witchcraft videos and the Lilithan philosophy, this certainly falls into it even before I knew what it was. Oh, Mother Lilith, you have been watching me since birth, because I'm cauldron born, which means born of blood magic, because my mother was a hereditary witch who, let's just say, did a lot of partying in the 70s and 80s, and, that resulted in her not being able to have children, and then she wanted to in her early 30s, but couldn't, and, being a witch, blood magic was used, Lilith was invoked, and me. Pretty not that uncommon. But there is a little bit of an uncommon thing, because as far as I know, and, dozens of other people, because we've looked, the spell that was done, and I've spoken to, because there was many witches there, a few of the witches still around that were there that are like, yeah, I took part in this at the temple, and my grandfather was leading it. But anyway, of this spell, which invokes Lilith, for fertility and birth of a child, there is something a little unique about me that differs me from all the other children that we know of for a fact born of this spell. I'm male. This spell is almost always produces a female. I'm the only confirmed example of this spell without a doubt being used, and a male heir being born to it. Interesting, right? It is interesting. What does it mean? I don't know. But we'll get on topic now. Never, ever, under any circumstances, respect the concept of timing. Timing is a lie. Timing is an excuse for luck. Timing is an excuse for nepotism, for cronyism, for tribalism, for settling, for giving in to something you don't want. It is an excuse for denying those who have earned something what they have earned. It is an excuse for denying your own desires on the basis of you have previously given up to something or someone you didn't want simply because it was in the right place at the right time. Oh, timing, how I hate thee. So, what do I mean by this? Well, the concept of timing is basically the bullshit that, everything happens for a reason in the right place, right time, which is fatalist bullshit. And completely ignores, the main thing of Lilith and witchcraft, which is the concept of free will. You have free will. Whether you acknowledge that or not, you have it, which means you choose where you want to go, what you want to do, who you want to be with, all that stuff. And you can push whoever you want away, and you can pursue whoever you want to. And even if they're in a relationship or engaged or married, you can still shoot your shot. It may not go well, but, you can still try. Or someone drastically out of your league. I never really had that problem. But then again, male model and all. And Amelia Clark won't return my calls anymore. Hollywood bitch. But anyway, that's a joke. Anyway, so timing is living your life based on someone else's will. Basically, in a professional setting, it's all, well, you may be overqualified and you do everything right and you put in overtime and, everybody thinks you should move up, but this other person who's, adequate at best, they were there at the right place at the right time. In other words, we favor them because they speak the same language or they're the same race or have the same religion. In other words, we're screwing you right now, but we got to come up with something that sounds more corporate friendly to tell you, because we can't tell you the truth. In relationships, it's, and it's mostly with females, men, it's a little different with timing. It's it's a train wreck, but she's kind of cute and she's trying to jump me. It's eventually we'll give in let's just say for a day. By day, I mean night, and by night, I mean a couple hours, and by couple hours, I mean, she'll get 7 inches inside of her. You get what I'm saying? But then it's like, what I do? Why? Oh, sometimes being a demisexual helps, Yeah. Or it can be weird when you're pressured by a female superior to, you know, give in to her desires, and you're penalized when you don't. See, girls, it doesn't just happen to you. It happens to, well, I'll say boy, me. Of course it does. Like, who the fuck else would it happen to? If it's gonna happen to any boy, of course it's gonna happen to a little Ethan, right? Anyway, more. Wrong pipe. I think I muted that. But in a broad sense, in the relationship setting, timing is usually plays out like this. Girl chases boy. Boy chases girl. A girl not into boy. Boy keeps trying. Boy gets other people to pressure girl into relationship. Girl gives in and isn't really happy, but everybody wanted them together, so all that bullshit. Years pass, girl's still not happy, and either gets out or marries the dude because it's the right time to get married, and that always ends in divorce. Basically, timing leads to you living a lie. Timing leads to you being in a job that you despise, like happened to me. Like, I got cheated out of a firefighter job I earned at 19 that my family did everything they could to, get in the way and destroy for me, but yet I still did it on my own merit, despite the fact that the area that I did it in was predominantly African American in a different state in the South, and I'm a Northern Italian American, white boy whose culture is predominantly Italian American. But I was still number one on the list out of merit. Says, that's not my words, that's the words of the Southern African American captain of recruitment at the time. But the good old boys club still found a way to cheat me out of it to promote a white boy, a good old boy. And I was screwed because I was out of state and didn't know anybody, and I was 19 and they figured they could get away with it, and they did for a time. But anyway, I digress. This leads into something. This leads into me being in golf course maintenance because, it's the recession and they're still hiring and you can't go into archaeology. I had a scholarship at the University of Toronto that was taken away thanks to a love triangle and the other dude's uncle. And yeah, love triangles, the bane of my existence. Well, one of them anyway. That happened. So, and it's like, well, you got experience and you're good at this. It's like, yeah, but it's 7 days a week, 80 hours a week, shitty pay, and, miserable. Well, it's just meant to be. That's how it is. And not with your job when you were, your first full-time job when you were 15. So you just stick with that for the rest of your life. That's boomer logic. Yeah. So I was kind of pushed into that. And, I did well and was recruited to a top 100 club at a college and was in magazines and all that bullshit and on tour with the PGA because I knew my shit. But I was miserable, and I hated it. So don't do things according to timing, because the day will come where you can't take it anymore. Be it a job or be it with the wrong person, you're going to want to get out. And the longer you're in it, the harder it is to break those chains. But you're going to break them. You got to break them. You're either going to break them and be the person you want to be, or you're going to break them another way. And, because it ain't ever going to get better. It only gets worse. So, do not fall for the lie of timing. Timing is an excuse. If you don't, for example, in a relationship, I don't get involved with any woman that I don't have instant chemistry with. There isn't like, we look at each other first time and, there's that instant connection and we talk, and it's like, if after talking, getting to know each other, if I can't basically communicate with her telepathically, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I'm talking about, where you can look at someone across the room and know what the other one's thinking. If that ain't there, then she don't get me. And it ain't gonna happen. And obviously it's gotta be my type to be interested at first. But that's important. That's intuitive. That's a real emotional connection. That's understanding. That's, especially if there's like obstacles in the way, like a love triangle or, like she's my boss and we're not supposed to date, or something like, oh, she lives in a different state and that's a bitch to overcome. Especially if there's obstacles in a way that shows there's real. It's like, this is forming despite obstacles. That means there's something there. It's not, well, he likes me and I'm single and all my friends have boyfriends they live with and I'm the one left out. So even though I don't like him, I guess I'll give in so, I can be like everybody else and fit in. That's not going to end well, ever. So there's that. And more commonly, because I'm old, I'm 38. I don't look it. But anyway, I'm 38. Most people I know are married, and the ones that aren't, that are like, this guy makes me cry all the time, and he's an asshole, but all my friends are married, and we've been together for 6 years, so I guess I'm just supposed to try to pressure him into marrying me, even though, he's lacking in the piece of deal category and barely pays attention to me, but timing, right? Yeah, that ain't gonna end well either, especially, I'm speaking of a specific friend, especially because he's broke, too, so you ain't even going to get anything at the end game. So don't fall for the lie of timing and fate. Fate, if it is a concept, it wants to screw you. Fate wants to keep you subservient. Fate wants you to be a servant to the status quo. Fate wants you to serve the good old boys club. So listen, especially ladies. Ooh, I know, it's coming from a man. Not mansplaining, Lilith-splaining. Oh, yeah. Lilith invented free will when she refused to be submissive to Adam because she was created equal, and then God's like, Adam's crying, you have to submit or get the fuck out of the garden. She's like, well, I'll just get the fuck out. No, we're going to drag you back. And the hell you are. And she fought off 3 angels. But enough about my queen, my girl, my savior. Anyway, the takeaway point is that timing ain't your friend. Fate ain't your friend. Feminism's all about free will. She was the OG. There's no denying that. Whether if you're any Abrahamic religion, they all acknowledge it. So free will is your friend. So if you're going to rely on, you cannot truly be like an empowered woman and be bound by the chains of fate or timing, because, she's the queen of feminism and witchcraft and free will and the night, and she has lots of other titles. But my point is like, kind of got to do what you want to do and embrace free will if you're truly free, male or female, but more so for her, because she kind of invented the whole thing, and can't be bound to fate and be empowered at the same time. You got to fight for what you want, even with the obstacles in the way, and deal with the consequences. And if you win, great. If you don't, at least you gave it everything you had to be or get, to be who you wanted to be or get what you wanted to get, and were not subservient to the whims and wills and manipulations of somebody trying to make you into something or someone you are not. See? Free will. Takeaway point. That's the end of my drunken ramble. So I'm back. I'm going to continue to be back. I hope this was informative and helpful. Please subscribe. So few of you do. And it's free. But also, please donate to the channel and my Patreon, which I should put content on. And I've been, out of it lately. But they're cutting my hours at work because they don't like me. Well, the person who did like me is gone and they didn't like her. So it's a big mess. But I work hard and everybody says so, except the managers who didn't like their boss who liked me. Get it? See? It makes sense. Embrace free will. Be the person you want to be. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for your dreams. Never back down. Never give in to timing. Timing is a lie.